If you reflect back on your experience as an entrepreneur, then you will have made mistakes and you'll have had successes. But most of us don't take the time out to look back over our experience, reflect on what's happened to us, and then put it into practice the next time round. In my particular case, I was fortunate to have 20 years as a practicing entrepreneur, followed by 7 years as a professor of entrepreneurship. In that period as an academic, I had the chance to look back over my period as an entrepreneur, and particularly in the activities of starting and growing a business, selling businesses, and then buying businesses. So what did I learn through this journey? Well, let me talk to you about the first company I had, Pioneer Computer Group. This was a company which was a classic startup. It was started in a dining room with 3 people, myself, my now ex-wife, and a colleague from work. And we wanted to build a software business around manufacturing applications for small and medium-sized firms. Well, we got started, and then of course we made mistakes, and we had some successes. And that first few years was a very rocky road. But gradually, as we found our way into the marketplace, as we built product and developed competitive advantage, and started to gain customers, we started to figure out what we were good at and how we could grow the business. About 7 years into that journey, we recognised that we needed to buy one of our software suppliers. And so we negotiated to raise $1.5 million of venture capital, and we acquired a business in San Diego. Unfortunately, that turned into a 5-year litigation in the federal courts in the United States against the previous owners and against the national auditing firm. And so that severely disrupted the business. However, coming through that, we developed a new product for process manufacturing applications and some 4GL products, some system tools. We then also acquired one of our distributors, a distributor in London. By the end of that whole process, the company had grown to about 120 people, had 2 world-class products, one in process manufacturing applications and the other in system tools, and had a decided competitive advantage in those sectors. We grew the business through to 160 people. So this journey had taken us over 12 years. At that point in time, we decided that we wanted to sell out. We had started the business with very little cash and very little wealth. We had grown the business over 12 years. We clearly had accumulated value in the business, but our personal circumstances hadn't changed that much, and so we wanted to take some money off the top. When we looked at selling the business in the UK, we found that the conventional valuations were 4 times EBIT. However, as we started that investigation, England went into a recession, and very quickly those valuations fell to 2 times EBIT. Well, at the time we were making about a £500,000 profit. I owned about 50% of the company. So when you multiply that up, it's £1 million for the business after 12 years of hard work. My share and my wife's share was £500,000. When you take capital gains tax off that, we're left with about £300,000. Not a great reward for a lot of hard work and a lot of time. So we looked in the United States to find a potential buyer, and we found a company in California that we believed could take advantage of our applications and our technology. However, they were an unlisted company, venture-backed, and we thought that it would be like jumping from the fat into the fire. However, they told us that they were about to list the company and that we should stay in touch and work with them on evaluating the opportunity. During that period, we managed to sign up one of their distributors in Asia. And so in fact this turned out to be a lucky break because it enabled them to evaluate the application and the competitive advantage in the marketplace. So that when the parent company listed on the NASDAQ, they were in a position to immediately negotiate a deal. By then, of course, the recession in England had started to bite, and our company was at best break even and starting to go backwards. However, over a 6-week period, we put the deal together, and the business, which was simply trading at break even at that point, was sold for $9.6 million. So a company that was started for £20,000 over 12 years, going from 3 people to 160 people, 4,500 customers, some breakthrough products, ended up not making a profit at the time of sale and yet selling out for $9.6 million. The lessons from that were quite apparent. Value is clearly in the eyes of the beholder, and it was what they could do with the products in the vast North American marketplace, which was really where the value was. They wanted to take our products into a marketplace where they had a large distribution channel and an existing customer base, penetrate their existing customer base, and then use their distribution channel to ramp up sales of the product. In actual fact, in the first 18 months, they did about 6 times the revenue that we had done in the previous year. The other lesson was that we simply weren't prepared for sale. We didn't have our lawyers lined up, we didn't have our accountants lined up, we had not prepared for due diligence. In the period after the negotiation, when we were doing due diligence, we discovered that because we were in business for 12 years, we had moved locations 3 times, that many of the documents that we needed for due diligence were simply not available or in boxes in a basement. And it severely disrupted the business through that 6-week due diligence period to find the information that the lawyers and the accountants needed from the buyer's side. So being prepared for due diligence is quite key. The other thing we found out was that our key staff and key managers were very important to the deal. So holding on to the development staff and holding on to the key sales and support staff was a vital consideration for the buyer. And we needed to spend a lot of time to ensure that those people were comfortable going into the new buyer's organisation. So the lesson is relatively straightforward here. If you've been on the journey, you've been in the boardroom and negotiated the deal, you do learn from the things that you did right and the things that you did wrong. And what I've done is I've taken that experience into these breakthrough processes that I have for selling a business.